Thoughts and concerns. Okay. With an Echo's mind, well, right now, all I will tell you, because I do not want to spoil some things I'm going to talk to Bullets about for next session, is right now she is not doing the best because she's still overwhelmed with the Lord bearing stuff, and seeing his spirit kind of obviously ticked her off because she just sees Lord Bearing as this person because she's never actually met the true person, and she just really thinks that he's just like that in general. But right, whatever, it was close enough.
My uncle's name right.
When they're evil, you don't have to care about
But
pronouncing their names right.
but practically, it was a fun session. Obviously no action, but you know it's fine. But
and sometimes that happens. Sometimes there's sessions where there is no action, and that's fine.
I wasn't
It
mad
just
about
builds a plot line and storyline. So
yep.
what's your thoughts? What's your thoughts and stuff like that on this?
Moby.
My thoughts is, I feel like going to this next kingdom will be eventful, for sure. But
Is it a kingdom?
what? Please.
No, I mean
It's a town outside of Earthland.
Yeah, but
It's part of Earthland.
Madam,
Earthland.
It's technically my family's land.
Yeah. So anyway, continue, Echo.
Practically, she is just. We're gonna say that Echo's gonna seem off. But I'm really excited for next session because I know there's gonna be a lot to unpack, especially with Miss Rayla.
Ain't that the truth?
It'll be exciting, but it'll be eventful for sure. And hopefully we can get Plague and Sans in here to pitch in on this action.
And don't forget about Pika.
I was getting to that.
And we'll have Pika as well. So,
I will try my hardest to get Plague in here.
perfect. All right. Well, you have a good night. I know you gotta get ready to go. So,
Good night.
as always, thanks so much. We're gonna jump over to Eris and Rayla next. Eris, thoughts, concerns, mindset. What happened? How's your character feeling? What's going on?
Currently scared. And
Well, I would hope so, with having a giant spear coming through his hand.
yes. And
I mean,
also,
when I found out it was from our backstory that this was the city and town, it would be a bit in character to start doing this.
also I want to state this. My character is not mentally prepared for this shit. And excuse my language. But he really is not mentally prepared.
Well, there's a lot of weight on his shoulder right now, to be honest. A lot of weight, to be honest. So
Yep.
I can imagine. So,
And considering he's been trying to help out everybody while trying to guide them.
what about the whole encounter with Thoyce and Scarlet?
Again, I'll say this. My character knew but didn't want to make assumptions.
Okay. Eris or Rayla, Miss Rayla, what's going on? What's going on?
Well, when I found out that it was the city from a backstory, I was like not really keen on still being here. Just bad stuff, really bad stuff. No, literal blood everywhere, dead bodies, the works.
Yeah, I can definitely see that, especially with your backstory, which we'll go into more later next week, actually. What about your? Tell us what your thoughts when you said I knew it, because I know people are wondering about that.
Wait, new what?
Oh yeah, when I said I was right,
Yes.
I just feel a little vindicated that I'd been saying since like she got cursed that, you know, dark magic, kind of a bad thing to be using and stuff. And then she goes and uses it and finds out that dark magic is indeed bad stuff that you don't want to use.
Well, how
Right?
did you feel about me saying that's a living entity?
Well, you saw me about to take it apart with my halberd. I can smite it. Get some holy damage in there.
And
Like that thing
and what we're gonna do now, if there's nothing else to add, we're gonna switch over to Miss Scarlet.
Well, I did get kind of the reaction about those two being an official couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially out of Echo.
Yeah. And it's funny because I remember we had talked about it after it. We had talked about it, and I said she's gonna react that way. Like, what? And sure enough.
Yep.
But
My
talk about
interest. Oh,
let's
sorry,
talk
go.
about everything in general about Scarlet right now. She's gone through a lot this last couple of sessions, especially your 2 sessions you had today. Walk us through a lot, because she went through a lot today alone, and the last couple of days she's gone through a lot. What's her mindset? What's her thoughts? What's she thinking?
She's scared to leave Thois. For the obvious reason. She doesn't want something to happen to him while she's gone. She does trust the people that are there, but you know, she's just worried that something's gonna happen while he's gone. But also at the same time, when he basically said that if you're okay if I go, Thois in a way was pushing Scarlet out of her comfort zone instead of, because I bet you if he didn't really say that, she would have stayed for a while to be with Thois. But not only to move the story along, but it definitely also kind of makes her feel that, gives her that confirmation that I guess she always seeks, to be like, okay, this is the right thing I'm doing. Plus with the earlier session, so the session that you guys were not in, Manaxis and Moby, essentially what it was what was kind of happening in the middle of while him and I were ahead of you guys of what was happening. So what happened during that, and during the solo session I had previous to this, I did run past Echo. So bullets did actually connect that, even though, you know, Echo wasn't even there. So, I mean, like, Deadleaf wasn't there. Because she always likes to follow me.
Yeah, and that's why I did it that way, because I was like, as soon as I rolled that, oh shoot, she's gonna see it. She's gonna see it.
Yeah, and she's
What
okay
else?
about them knowing, but I think she's a little worried. A little bit of how the way Rayla was acting. I know she doesn't know yet, but with kind of her reactions while we were playing the session is going to make me wonder if he's going to be okay with that. She was going to mention that her parents
What,
did
with
approve.
voice?
Yeah. Yeah,
This is
because I got...
probably the first thing either of you have done that she'd be like, this is okay.
Oh, okay. For some reason, I got a different vibe. To be honest, that's why I kind of said that.
No, she's
No,
no affiliations. She actually likes it when people are happy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not really that. I guess I thought because of Thois's race and the fact that he's celestial and stuff like that, I thought your character would think of a logical, be like, wait, why? Kind of like what you and Axis were saying, like, oh, how old is he again? Like that kind of thing, to be honest.
So she's gonna
It's-
be like, dang, I'm older than him, but he can kick my ass. That's some messed up stuff.
But also, though, as a note of the relationship, I didn't know about it ahead of time, but at the same time, I think it honestly transpired even before the sessions even started. When we had the original D&D session, it was kind of already starting. Except in that scenario, Kiara ended up dead. Ended up dying and actually sacrificing her life to save Scarlet's before I didn't like playing her. And while that was happening, obviously, Bullish changed that bit up, obviously, but basically what started was when she was always there with him, always at her grave that she made for Kiara, and kept praying for Kiara every single day as much as she could. And in a way understood what Thois went through. So I think that connection kind of started more then, and then kind of progressed to that point. And her parents actually approve of this, by the way.
Yes, they do.
They do. Which you guys won't know. Unless you guys say something about it, that you're concerned about it. But yeah, no, so I'm really intrigued as to what what Eris is going to be showing us. She's obviously concerned about it, especially because of what she did last session with the magic power and the dark magic, everything. I have a feeling the trauma is going to affect her again, and that's probably going to cause her to not want to do it and potentially back off because of her almost killing Thois, essentially. Because that's literally what happened. So, Eris, be prepared to explain it to her gently, because it's going to take her a lot to really, really do it.
Do you think my character is going to be mentally stable after visiting his hometown?
Well, I don't mean even just from that. I just mean in general when it comes to the ritual. I mean, obviously, you're going to be a mess, too.
He's going to try.
Yeah, like, essentially what Scarlet's been doing this entire time is trying to mentally stay stable.
And I already have plans on what my character is going to show you.
Assuming that what you show us doesn't end in Rayla putting her halberd through your skull.
Just note.
Yeah, I was gonna say, depending on what happens with the halberd, again.
My character might wander
You're lucky
off.
I threw it.
My
Alright.
character might wander off.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna jump over to a guest member of our server, Miss Grumpy Queen, who is new to the D&D world, and I want to kind of get her feedback a little bit on how the session went today. She's actually sat through the whole session, and I don't want to get her feedback on it. And so, Grumpy, what was your take on it? What was your thoughts? How do you think the series is going so far, based off of what you saw, and how do you feel? How would you depict the characters at this time in regards to the trials that they're facing?
To be honest, I think that, like, I don't know, it's kind of hard to explain because I've never, like, seen anything like this before, if that makes sense. So, like, experiencing it for, like, the first time and seeing all of you, like, communicate and all that, and, like, seeing the plot, like, develop and seeing all the characters and like listening to the story, it's really cool, and it just kind of like your imagination just totally, it's so hard to explain. I'm sorry.
No,
Because it
you're
doesn't
good.
quite
No, you're
make
fine.
sense.
Would this make sense, maybe, Grumpy, for you? Does it seem like as if you're being told a story, and like
Yeah.
you're like the little kid and you're dreaming?
Kind
No,
of.
but you know what I mean, like that kind of a scene in a movie. Okay.
Yeah.
My
and
base-
so-
My biggest question is can you picture these events and can you picture these things happening and can you picture the spaces around you and stuff like that?
I can. It's really like it's like you're there, but like not there. Does that make sense? Like you could probably imagine and like see everything that's happening, but like you're not there. If that makes sense, probably not.
No, it makes total sense. I mean, it's one of those things where a lot of people when they get into these kind of things, they want to learn how to do things right. And honestly, there's not really a right way to do it, to be honest. I mean, how you play your person, how you play your character is completely up to you. And the way that I tell my characters to do it or my players to do it is to play as that character would play. Which is why when you saw Rayla when she threw the halberd through the door, it is like, I was like, well, what would she do? Well, she would throw it and it would be hard. And it's like, well, okay, well then I rolled a 20 and then I was like, well, shoot, I'm sorry. And it's like it's one of those kind of things. So
At least it wasn't a melee attack.
yeah, all right.
I would have smited.
I'm glad that you I'm glad that you were enjoying it. I'm glad that you feel like you're there. Because that's what we try to depict. What would you say to the people who are watching this, let's say for the first time, or for those of you who are, for those of them people that have been watching this, what would you say from a viewer standpoint?
To be honest, it's different. It's not something you would like find in like a movie theater or like anything else. It's like this type of experience is just it's not something you can like I don't know, like find on a video game or anything else. It's like since there's like actual people and you're like communicating with them and there's this like whole story to everything, it makes it so much more enticing and like it's so fun to just experience, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it makes total sense. And that's what we try to do. We try to make it so that you guys can be in the experience with us. Try to make it so that you can actually experience the D&D experience with us. That's the whole point of doing it. So I appreciate you tagging along. I appreciate you joining us today, and I'm glad you enjoyed it. And hopefully in the future we'll actually see Grumpy come with a character on the next season. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So
maybe
we'll see. Anything else anyone else wants to add before we close out this recap?
I'm looking forward to not possibly dying.
Well, that's unfortunately completely up to you and Rayla. That's completely up to you and Rayla, unfortunately, at this point.
I might need a distraction.
Just hope that the information revealed does not make her think that you are related.
What?
Let's just say that there's actual.
Backstory stuff.
We'll just leave it at that. How about that?
Oh gosh.
Huh?
Okay.
Carly, did you have anything else you want to add?
I guess I'll say this too, because I know a lot of Bullis's viewers were telling me that they thought that those two were a couple, and there you go. I actually had the suspicion for a while, but I wasn't sure Bullis was actually going to act on that. Because, and I was saying this in the recap on the session I was doing before this one, was honestly, she didn't think that Thois would love her because of Thea and all that, and she didn't want to. She felt guilty, and she didn't want to. You know what I mean? Like essentially replace her, because she didn't feel like it was right. But obviously, he had feelings for her anyway, so it didn't really matter.
By the way,
Mm-hmm.
well, I hope you realize this. Eris is not my character's real name.
I know, but don't ruin it.
I know you kept pushing me to try to admit the whole dating thing with frickin' Thois.
Look, if you want any other stuff about the backstory, you could probably ask any paladin around about the big thing that happened.
I seen the spirit walk, so I'm somewhat aware of it already.
Oh, trust me, it gets far worse if we really want to go with that.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna go ahead and end our recap for tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed the content that we brought to you. I hope everyone enjoyed the stream. Yeah, if you like what you see, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below, hit that follow button down below. Get notified when we're doing these streams. And yeah, we do these every Tuesday, so make sure you check it out. And as always, thanks for tuning in. Make sure you check out our sponsors, and we'll see you on the next episode. Have a good night.